Reconnect due to poor wireless. Nope. Okay, folks, we are live.
Hello,
ladies and gentlemen.
Hi.
All right, yeah.
Make sure it looks good.
Make sure it looks good.
Hey, it's more important to look good than to feel good.
All right,
Another great cultural reference you
All right,
will
I need
never
to
get.
test levels on each microphone. Hold on a second here.
No one's actually watching the Facebook thing, so we don't really care what's going on.
No, but
Dope.
Facebook Live comes back forever.
Oh.
Facebook Live comes back forever.
Can I have a beer?
Your last one.
I just figured when he sits down.
There's some Yinglings in the doors. You might need another one.
Nobody else is drinking.
I'm drinking. I'm drinking bar.
I'm going to check Facebook Live.
What am I hearing right now? Oh.
Trying to figure out which microphone goes to what.
This is
All right,
where the magic
individual
happens.
testing of individual microphone levels.
I was telling the folks at home, this is where the magic happens.
Levels, levels, levels.
If you can't tell, we've never done this before.
Hello, this is Chrissy.
Okay, I need Chrissy. Chrissy is on one.
This is Chrissy.
Okay, do it again.
This is Chrissy. Hello.
As loud as you're going to talk during the podcast.
I don't talk very loud.
That's fine.
You need to go more sorry.
This is Chris.
Apparently,
That's good.
And
Give
that's
me a
part of
mental.
our listener feedback. This is mental.
Hello, hello.
And I'm Jeff.
Very good. Are we all feeling
Now,
good?
now, let's get the order down before we start. No, don't even start with
No, I'm just checking.
Red
Okay.
leather, yellow leather.
Look at
red
this.
leather,
Yes,
red
yes.
leather.
Look at this. Okay,
Red leather, yellow
Yeah.
leather.
this is
That's
Chris.
the vocal thing.
I'm Chrissy,
I'm Jeff.
and I'm mental.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeff, you say,
I say it in the thing, so I don't know why I'm ever listed.
right. You shouldn't be. 'cause
That's
you
what I
changed
think.
Well, just because so they can identify his voice with who he is.
My voice is on the intro.
it. It's on the intro, and it says you're Jeff. It gives your name, and it's your intro. So why do you say it again?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't always read the intro.
But
You
his
do
name is
read
in it, and he says, "This is Jeff. I'll be your." He says, "This is Jeff, and I will be."
This is probably something we should have resolved 12 episodes ago.
Yeah. Jeff doesn't need to do an introduction because he introduces it there. So because he introduces himself in the intro, the other three of us are the ones who need to do it. You always go last because you say, "And I'm mental."
Yeah.
So he says, "This is Jeff." I say, "This is Chris."
I still think he needs it because when we get our T-shirts will say E1R on the back. It'll say, "This is Chrissy," or "This is Chris," "This is Chrissy," Jeff, and mine will, and I'm mental.
Mine says my name is Jeff, which says in the intro. See this, Jim?
What you got?
I wrote it right in the frickin' thing!
Let's see.
Alright, what are we talking about? Sections.
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 What are we working on?
What are we working on? Chris is going to talk about them in Civic?
Yeah, I guess I'll talk about what broke in the Honda.
Wait, no,
Honda.
no.
No?
This is what are we working on? What were we working on for the
Last week?
Not right now, because the whole show is about
Sure.
the race, right? It's race update.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But is it all week, or... How about this? How about I say... I'll do an intro and say we're live from the race.
Sure.
And I'll say how we all got here.
Okay.
I'll say we're live in Mentals, RV. Since we're at the race, what are we working on during the race? And that'll kind of like frame it that,
Okay.
Okay, so this is
Like-
not backstory. Of
It's not backstory, it's just race story.
Okay.
That's race story. Okay.
So Chris says Honda. Mental, what are you going to talk about?
I'm not working on anything because
Yeah, me neither.
I was working on. Yeah, the only person that's been working on anything is you and Chris.
How about not getting black flags?
Or
Yeah, not working on that. Not even trying. Not honestly, not even a priority.
you worked on parts runs.
I worked on parts runs.
Great.
We cooked.
Sure.
Booked.
I mean, we can talk about what you do every race.
Well,
And it's fucking cold.
it's fucking cold. Yeah. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do how's the race going instead of what you're working on?
But that was the whole show. Like that's our main topic.
Oh, that's the
isn't
main
Is
topic.
how the race is going.
Yeah.
See, folks at home, we are
it? How unorganized.
we are professionals.
All right, so skip to main topic in the notes. what are we talking
So
at
this is
during
how
main
the
topic?
sausage-
All right, so are we just not going to talk about what we're working on?
No, we're going to talk about what we're working on, but it's going to be...
Why did we start the Facebook Live?
What?
Why did we start the Facebook Live?
Because I don't want to get out of this chair again.
Just
That's
leave
fair.
it, because you know why? We're going to be done in 2 minutes.
Okay. That's what she said.
Main topic, we're at Road Atlanta. What are we covering?
Yeah.
Jeff is going to talk about... Chris is going to talk about the brakes.
I done fucked him up.
I'm going to talk about how sloppy it was.
Yeah.
Ice.
Ice.
Sloppy.
We had talked about how just yesterday, what a hot, cold mess yesterday
Cold
was.
frickin' mess, yeah. Chrissy, what are you talking about?
How sick I am.
Can I talk about brakes and ignition?
Yes. Do you want me to say what happened on the track, or you?
Sure.
That's what are you talking about?
I was going to talk about the work I had to do in the bathroom so that it could store radios, but I got nothing.
No, why don't you talk about how you got the RV here? We're all in your RV, and then
You
Fair.
drove a couple of
You
times.
drove-
You were going
you
to
got black-
not drive.
You were gonna not drive?
Well, and I was going to talk about it. I was going to talk about that on the main topic.
you're-
How,
This is
This
the
is
main
the main
topic.
topic. We're talking main
okay, main topic. Yeah, no, I'm going to talk about how I wasn't going to drive and how I'm the king of scammers today. Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've totally gone into driving everything. You have a great story to tell, actually.
True.
so what you're working on is how we got here.
Okay, I like that.
Okay.
What we've been working on up until today.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was. Yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
Fair.
We wrote our stuff.
Right, and then I can talk about how
So
I just
You
put this
put
engine
the
together.
engine in.
So, and I'll talk about how the Love Pig Fest-a-thon
Didn't happen.
destroyed.
Yep.
Lots of porn.
Toe Pig Fest
Can you- yeah.
Joe Pig Love Fest thon.
It's hard to. Can you
I can.
crawl over me?
I can.
I might like it.
Okay.
If and honestly, if she doesn't like it, I've always got
But I
this.
don't want to go while
Yeah,
we're on the
fine.
show because this is gonna be too hard to get this all out.
Oh baby. Oh,
See,
baby.
I'm not the only one that has a hard time getting out of the chair, and she's young and spry.
She had to climb over me.
Let's put Jim on the main topic. Because he drove the car fast. Because he did the dry shifts.
Sure.
Because he's the only one who didn't break.
It's true. And no black flags for Jim.
0 black flags.
No chin dick.
Okay, yeah, no, this is. Oh God, we've already got 4 comments. This is going badly. And comment number 1.
Who is it, Chrissy's mom?
No, my mom doesn't comment on Facebook.
So, Vicky.
Vicky, stay tuned. You're going to hear about the black flag, and you're going to hear all about what is on Mental's head.
It's a long-standing 3 p.m. tradition. That's all. So, if we're... This is fun. Watching
I'm not even on the camera. I just have to lean forward
watching
every now and
Facebook
again.
Live. While on Facebook Live, it's like...
It's so meta. It's
like,
so meta.
It's like looking into a mirror, into another mirror.
All right, as soon as Chrissy gets back, we're
I
going to
do
get
need
this
to
thing
make an
started.
adjustment though. Well, all right.
Oh, you got up in the chair much more quickly that time.
Yeah, because he
that-
wanted to.
I injured something on that time.
Oh.
He's adjusting the picture.
I know. Oh, okay, good.
Mental. Just stop. You just loosen the adjustment screw in the middle. That thing. You loosen that, and then you can adjust the whole arm in the 2 different pitch points. And
Yeah, I was trying to avoid all that.
if you're gonna do it, do it
Get away
right.
with coughing and not hearing it.
Yeah, that ain't happening, sister.
All right, check it. Check, see what it looks like now.
Give me a second.
That's probably crooked.
Check.
Look for it.
So why do we have so many comments?
Just people are watching us on Facebook.
Already.
People are actually watching.
Yeah.
Victoria
Victoria
Castleboard.
And some others.
Well, Mental is a dick, but I live him anyway.
Bruce is watching.
Bruce is watching. Oh, good.
Why did you tell Bruce to come in? This is so crazy.
That's why I said it's funny to watch us. Hey, we're watching us.
We're doing
My
this.
mind.
All right, Chris, are we ready to record?
That is, this is my mind exploding in slow motion.
Well, that's what that is. Yeah, when mental. Hang on, do that again. Again? Come on, baby. You're not done.
Oh, no.
I'm not done yet.
I'm going to make it last.
Aw.
You're off. Are you off?
I know I'm on.
Okay.
I'm just being quiet.
Which makes us think that you're off.
All right, so everyone needs to turn off our like this has got to stop.
You can't watch
No,
yourselves.
because I'm hearing it.
It's feedback.
Okay.
How was the track? We'll talk. Stop doing it. So Vicky didn't like that. She didn't like me touching it.
Turn off the live feed.
Good to know.
We got to watch.
No, because people are commenting. So
All
we're
right,
going
all right,
to
all right.
respond
It's good to
in
know
real
Vicky
time.
doesn't like touching.
That's true.
Oh, stop it.
So,
All right, if everyone will shut up for a minute, we can push record.
are we ready?
I think we're ready.
You sure?
I think we're ready.
Okay, 3, 2.
Do we have an opening line, or should I just go?
Just go.
Yeah. Stop touching that. And we are looking for sponsors.
This is Chris,
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm mental.
and we just gonna drive by Dunking. Or is it a walk by Dunking?
Walk by Dunking.
It was a run by fruity.
All right, so let me do a quick intro and say what's going on here. We are live from Road Atlanta at the Scrodium 500, the Kim Harmon
Memorial.
No,
Or no,
not Memorial.
It can't
They
be
took out
Memorial.
Memorial.
Yeah, they took out Memorial.
Scrodium 500, which is the last race of the Lemons season. It is the championship race, and we are the reigning East Coast championships. And high five to all of us. We have already screwed it up, not to win the national championship.
We
We screwed up early. Yeah, very good, very good. We are also Facebooking live. If you're watching live, Jim Wakeman is next to us. We're going to pass the mic to him at some point. But yes, this is how ugly we are in real life. I am actually this bald. We are actually in Atlanta. It is actually snowing. It is cold as hell. Let's start
Hell is
with
cold.
It is. It's bad. Let's say how we got here. We're gonna, instead of what you're working on, it's gonna be how'd you get here, what you're working on. Who wants to start it? Mental's the most local. How about Chris? Chris had the most to do before we got here, so start it up,
I
buddy.
sure as hell did. I've been piecing this Honda together for the last 2 weeks, really, nonstop.
During the last episode.
Yeah, yes, that's right. At that episode, I was doing that, and I managed to get the car together. That was Wednesday. The bearings came Friday from Honda, thanks to Honda Performance Development. That really worked nicely with me. They gave for not only the good discount they gave you, and this delightful hat. They,
Don't turn away from the mic.
Take the mic with you when you look at the camera.
this delightful hat
And some stickers.
and stickers. And
The
various
Tube
other
of
things.
Mockery brought to you this week by
Honda
the Weather
Performance
Channel.
Development. Exactly. So they worked really nicely. Shipped the things fast. I got them in 2 days. We got all the bearings we needed. Got all the parts we needed. Got the motor together. I went to put when I was putting the ring gaps in well, on the last show, they were all a little big. That's fine. Mental's being safe. That's excellent. Anyway, got the motor together over the weekend. Got it in the car Monday night and Tuesday night after work. Fired it up Tuesday night for the first time. First heat cycle, no problem. Wednesday, I did some tuning on the car, and as soon as I pulled the car off the trailer from the tuning, I found there was a huge butt of oil on the trailer that was coming from the very top of the shock absorber, because that's where things usually leak, is the top of the shock. Like not the shock body, the top of the rod in the engine bay is running all
But
the way
that's
down.
the best possible option. When you see a whole pile of oil on a trailer, you're like, okay, what is
Oh,
possibly
I backed up the
leaking?
trailer and went, it hadn't leaked a drop the night before. So fortunately, that was it. So then I tasked my team as I was driving home with get a shock. Right, so I called Jeff, I called Jim, I said, just do what you gotta do, get a shock, go.
Well, and I'm a little disappointed because you're like, hey, if I have it sent to your house and coming from work, I had to take a bit of a long route to get here, and I'm like, well, I just actually have it sent to my work. I so wanted you to send it to work because I wanted to explain. Well, I'm on a race team, you see, and we had some parts we had to get in. I'm just going to keep doing that because it makes Chrissy laugh.
Wow. All right. So we're going to have to explain that a little bit. We did end up getting the shock. Thank you to Ground Control for drop shipping it right to Road Atlanta.
And thank you to Road Atlanta.
Thank you to Road Atlanta for collecting it.
Yes.
Not thank you to UPS who charged me $99 for overnight delivery and then took 2 days to deliver it.
It's alright, you can call for your refund.
I'm going to
now
get
that
my
you have
refund.
received the package, you can get that refund.
Well, awesome. And then we loaded up the old bourbon. Chris, you want to talk about how we got here?
Sure. So I have to explain to Facebook Live that I'm not drinking whatever
Light, yeah, no.
there's beer in this cup. So just
It's good beer though.
it's good beer.
These are a stalwart of the V and nice
They're
aluminum
nice
cups.
Somehow they managed to walk over from the RV and hit me with the dong, but none of them were good enough to bring me my beer, which I left on the Civic. If they're watching, bring me the beer on top of the Civic.
Write it down and then hold it up to the camera. Maybe
Okay.
they'll see it.
So anyway, I did a lot of packing dry goods for the race. We did some last minute prep for the food. and-
Chrissy did all of the normal race prep that we oftentimes do together, all completely by herself because I was just chained to the Civic.
That's fine.
And as always, rocked it like Dawkin.
Well, it was really great that we had some extra help with the food this race. So I think Darren really did some farming out of Darren and Greg did some farming out of the food. So I normally make a whole bunch of meats and meals, and I did not have to make meals.
What's John's wife's name?
John's wife.
Yeah,
Kim.
John's wife.
Kim.
So thank her.
Yes,
and thanks, Kim.
Darren stepped up on the organization for this race. Really, he was the go-between between the different teams that we're all associated with. Darren really picked it up and
Yeah, the three of us
made this happen.
had been texting back and forth to do some organization
Yep,
of food.
yep.
So it was really nice to not have to make so much food.
Yep.
And we did breakfasts and work burgers, which actually I realized we didn't explain what work burgers were. So we had
On
a
our
show,
food- our food episode.
food show episode. We said work burgers, and then I feel like we just didn't explain.
Do you want me to give the 30-second history of the work burger?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, our first ever Lemons race was at some point 2010, I believe, and our car that we had was the Wartburg, which was a 1958 Wartburg that we won in the Lemons contest of writing an essay when a Wartburg. So
Yes.
anyway, our team that is 4/5 the same as it was then won the Wartburg and made it into a car. It's a very long story. Episode entirely. And so when we went to the track, we said, well, we want burgers, but we have good burgers, but we don't want to bring all the fixings with us because it's too much stuff to bring. So we said, well, how about we put the cheese and the bacon and stuff right in the burger?
And mushrooms. And
Right, so that's what we
cheese.
started. We said, put the onions and mushrooms and bacon and cheese and spices all in the burgers, make the burgers, and it's everything you need in one tasty package.
It's always fun to have the person,
great to
people that have never experienced one, and then they're like, there's nothing on this burger. No, it's all in there. They're like, this is amazing. So,
Awesome.
When I win the lottery, I'm going to start that as a fast food chain.
Wartburger?
Wartburger.
yeah,
It's in there. That'll be our motto.
Everybody
It's in
makes
it.
it sound like it's gross because it just doesn't sound appealing, but it's delicious.
Can I get it without mushrooms? No. Can I get it without onions? No.
Oh,
Because
right.
it's in there.
Pretty much. And then so
Shut up and
then
eat
I
it.
did a Costco run. So I basically just did all of the fixing and prepping for Chris loaded this up on Wednesday.
Yeah, it took Wednesday off.
I was working.
I was about to lose PTO time if I didn't take some off, so it took
And
off
with the
Wednesday.
engine not knowing the status of the engine,
Yeah.
you took your time.
Yeah, it worked out great.
Awesome. And then we drove down from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that, but first, Mental, you're the local guy. Tell us what you did to get us here.
So, knowing that, we always try to have enough sleeping space for everybody. So I spent the week actually getting the shower in here sealed back up because the shower was leaking, which is great because now it's storing radios and not doing anything shower at all. But with my schedule, had to drive down here Wednesday night, drop this thing off in the gravel weight lot And going back to Darren, when those guys showed up on Thursday, because I had to work, and then I had to work late Thursday, and I wasn't going to be able to get here until Friday night. Darren got this thing over here, so I left it over there. And my loving bride, hi Vicky, who as we record this is making all kinds of disparaging comments about my head decorations, and came back and picked me up, and then we drove all the way home. Actually, well, we stopped at Patty's, the local Irish pub at Chateau Elan, and had dinner.
Excellent.
Very nice, very nice. I guess I will catch up all the faithful listeners, all tens of them. We have upgraded from fives
From
of them
fives to tens.
to tens of them.
Tens.
All tens of them have been eagerly awaiting the results of the Toe Pig Love Fest-a-thon. This is the marathon
Never type that
avalanche
into Pornhub
break
search.
job that I've been working on for, I think, 3 years now.
And the main purpose of doing so was to bring the super janky old trailer down to Mental.
and give it to Mental, and it is still in my yard. I still have 2 weeping brake lines that I just can't get done. So Jim and I rocked it down here at
Oh,
3
I believe we have a
digits.
special guest.
Oh, yes.
Special
We
guest.
do.
Don't forget
Come
your
in.
towel. Don't forget your towel.
Tally has arrived.
Sally says,
Wait. Say
Say it again.
Do it again. Do it again.
Sally always says, don't forget your towel. I'm gonna go swimming. Gotta have a towel.
Thanks, Tally.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Tally.
Tally.
Thanks, Tally.
We'll get high later.
We'll definitely do that later, Tally.
Tally, you're the worst character ever.
You're the worst character ever.
Oh, and that's when we got sued and had to shut this podcast down. It was great.
Oh, we're definitely getting the E for this one. This is not my beer, but whatever. I'll take
Take
it.
it. It's beer and it's cold.
It's beer and it's cold. It's nice and
And it
cold.
was, and it was free. It handed to you.
It was, yeah,
Delivered.
absolutely.
Cold
By
and
a towel.
By a
and
real live
delivered.
towel.
By towel. Yeah, by towel.
All of you watching on Facebook Live,
We're so sorry.
you got to see it was an actual towel. Couple races ago, we did the South Park team. We had the towelly, and yeah, we just had
And-
beer delivered by towel.
And for those of you who didn't see it, this video is on our Facebook page, so you'll be able
Facebook
to
Live.
go back and watch it over. And
Now they have something to go look
Because
for.
where else are you going to see a towel delivers?
where else? Yeah, where else can a towel deliver but on Everyone Racers? That's
I
what.
know.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
did. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, I
Thanks,
think
guys.
that's the update. We rocked it down in the Mazda 3. We all got here. We left Wednesday night.
What was on top of your muscle?
I put a roof rack on it with all the gas cans. It looks hyper tough,
And you got the
and
best
it
guys.
only lost like 5 miles per gallon.
You totally look like you're concerned about vape flavors. You just you see some mud flaps, but
Yeah.
you're not as concerned about vape flavors as Darren. with his
Darren. Darren's new orange truck. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so that's how we got here. We are going to do the main topic and actually update on the race. So,
Well, but before we get to that, we do have some listener feedback.
Oh, listener feedback. No
are
last
Are
names.
we skipping news notes?
What's the news and notes? We're here.
There was-
No, we do have some news and notes actually too. Yeah,
Our
you,
news and
you
notes
wanted to
is-
go straight to the main topic.
no, I'll go straight. I'll go to news and notes.
Okay,
News and notes. Tell us about the all the decals we gave out this weekend.
Yes, so our apologies for the decals. If you guys came here looking for a decal, we did not get a chance to have those done.
Did people actually come over looking for decal?
A couple, but well, just yeah, so.
That's
But we're
two.
going to get them done. And if you're mad, you wanted a
Actually, a
decal, a couple. If you're mad because you didn't get a decal, just get a hold of us on the Facebooks or whatever, and we'll get you some. But the
Eventually.
graphics we were using were
Someday.
not high enough resolution. And honestly, good on the company for giving us our money back and not sending us crappy decals.
No surprise.
Maybe you should find a graphic designer.
Well, hey, no surprise. Something we did, it was janky.
Yes,
You just said I'm not good at it.
it's
Like I said.
yeah. So something we did was of not high resolution and kind of slapped together at the last minute. We thought it was good enough, and then as soon as you involve a professional, they go, no. But we'll get that figured out. So our apologies. So email us at everyoneracers@gmail.com, and we will get those decals in the mail.
Isn't everyone dot racers?
I'm sorry, it is everyone.racers@gmail.com.
You could email the other one and they
Very good, very good.
They might not.
So,
So-
there were 2 news and notes. The first one I'd like to bring up is on the AER page right now.
Yes.
There is an epic discussion happening.
Wait, hold on. You can't see the emblem
Mental's
on my
wearing
hat.
his AER hat. An epic discussion that began with a simple question: what would you do to improve this race series?
I found some drag
And
sheets.
it has something like 300 or 400 different comments at the
Yeah.
time.
And
How about
some
reduce the douchebag?
Oh, come on,
You
just
don't actually receive the towel with the
Oh,
key
this
too.
this is the mental sound effect machine from the first 6 races. The mental didn't know how to turn his microphone on.
the tube of mockery, the
Yeah,
cardboard
the tube of mockery. This week brought to you by Honda Performance Development. Thank
We
you.
love you.
We love Honda Performance Development. Thank you very much.
Okay, good.
yeah.
Jeff.
So we're currently at 449 comments. What would you change to make this great series even better? And half of the room thinks AER is absolutely fantastic. Not our bag, but whatever. It's great racing.
You say half the room.
Yeah,
Where's the half?
I think this half.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I like AER. It's not my deal, but I think it's good. It gets him out of lemons.
That's true.
Okay.
So here were the 3 suggestions from the original poster. Matt Conley, sorry I'm reading your stuff, but hey, too bad. National anthem before the start, which a lot of people
Chump
have
card
agreed,
does it,
have
or
thinking.
Champ card does that, and they're kind of adamant about it.
Some sort of appearance clause, which got to a big discussion because they basically
They
said
want their cars to look nice.
they want the cars to look nicer, and to
Yeah,
them,
that.
things that were dented or things that were half painted were not good
So
enough.
that means most of the AER field will not be allowed in their own race
Have you
after
seen
the
the
first
No,
day.
but what I'm
Right.
saying is, and then the other half of AER piled on those half, saying, your thoughts are ridiculous. Cars are gonna get bent and gonna get painted, and it's gonna be so. It just really turned into a bit of a thing, and then it became a big discussion about sandbagging.
Yes.
About and a whole huge discussion about the AER classing and how AER classing works, and if you sandbag on day 1 and then go faster on day 2, and then John
They
and
do.
some of the other people basically defending, saying, look, we have the data. The data doesn't lie. Sandbagging doesn't really happen as much. Now,
Because you'd have to sandbag for a day and a half, and then you would have to put in someone so good that they could make up 20 laps in half a day, and you just can't. And the other thing is, a sub point of that sandbagging was a couple of people said, oh, well, those Chump and Lemon cars couldn't possibly compete. And shout out to Donald Sykes, because Donald Sykes throws up the picture of Big Red and said, I'm sorry, you were saying. Because Big Red runs in Lemons, it runs in Chump, and it runs in AR, and it whoops
And
up.
by the way, Randy Pope's Volvo that's here this weekend,
Has run in all 3 series.
and with our Civic, I was running right with it for a long
Exactly,
time
exactly.
today.
And-
That's when my boy already had screwed the brakes up entirely. I was
Yeah,
still running with it.
and here all you got to do is look at the lap times these cars are running right now this weekend at Road Atlanta in a compromised situation with a wet track, and compare them to the times that AER was running back here in February. And sorry, you've got some folks out here that are running some slow cars, and that's cool because they need a place to go. But you're pointing into the field here at Lemons all day long run very well in AR, and I know for a fact because I've seen it and I've done it.
It also became a discussion about the arms race that is happening in AER right now, and they
Yeah.
talked about the CTSVs and
The C6
C6 Corvettes and things, and half of the AER people were saying something needs to be done to slow it down. I shouldn't say half. A good 20% of the posters were very concerned about the arms race at AER.
There's a huge speed differential when you're running
That's what I'm
120 on the back road and you're getting blasted by just 150, 160 miles an hour. And those guys, and I get it, most of the guys in AR, they can drive, especially if they're driving at those speeds, but it's a problem.
A number of the AER original, the OG AER folks were quite upset with Lemons originally and left for their own faction because of the speed differential. And so the speed differential was their big problem. It's things like you have an E30 on the track with a Citroen.
Yeah.
But now you have a Spec Miata on the track with a C6 Corvette. The speed differential actually is worse.
It's bad. It's
so
bad.
it's their own problem that they left for, and it's now worse.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
There you go.
great.
Just some quick
I do
microphone
microphones
tips.
wrong.
Microphone tips from Mental.
We don't do.
Just saying.
Who has the worst
Just-
microphone for us?
Just say it. I've got one. You need it? You need it? I'll put it there. I will put it there.
And I can't open the. We don't have enough data. Thank you. To open up the Everyone Races page, but I also had there was an interesting post from it was Connecticut, right? It was a track we run in Connecticut.
Oh, Thompson.
From Thompson. Thompson is going to run a series of bracket enduro.
Yes.
And
Love
basically set your own speed. Tell me how many laps you're going to do in an hour.
And
Not
then-
lap
and then-
times,
and then
laps
match it.
per hour,
Yeah.
and then match it.
Oh, see, that was what SCCA bracket enduro.
What bracket
was.
enduro
They
was,
ran
exactly.
that once or twice, and that was it.
Yeah. Actually, Jim Wakeman, do you know things about bracket enduro? Can we turn it over to you? I'm going to pass my microphone over to Jim Wakeman, my brother.
The
to
other Jay
discuss-
Wakeman.
The other Jay Wakeman. And let's
to
be
discuss
honest,
some
the
SCCA enduro.
better Jay Wakeman.
The strong silent type here.
Yeah, the bracket enduros that was done by, basically it was pushed by the folks up in New England, and they really liked to do this sort of thing. They like the idea of like the lemons or the chump or the cheaper enduros.
Sure. Well, if you're a CCA and you see all of these cars running all the time, don't you want a piece of that action?
Yeah, and that was it. And the SCCA no longer does many enduros. They used to do lots of them. It was a good thing. They tried it. It's still a thing. It still exists. They just don't do very many.
So for those listening at home, I don't know if you can
I think
hear
that's the
the
Knox Vegas, folks.
Yeah, there's a quite a large
Oh, I see.
stereo and horn and things outside. That's probably someone we know.
You're probably screwed with us. So I did get to thank you, Chrissy, for handing me the iPad Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park Bracket Grand Prix. All vehicles was production based, lemons, chump, all legal. 10 speed brackets. Brackets are track specific. From testing, practice, or teams racing history at Thompson, most teams will be able to find out how fast they are expected to be. Teams simply pick their bracket. The base time in bracket A, and then bracket B is 1 lap per hour faster. Bracket C is 1 lap per hour faster. So basically, you're taking you're telling you how many penalty laps you want, 1 through 8 or 1 through 10.
But then you have to stick to it.
But then you have to
So
stick
we
to
would
it.
find, so if we ran, we would say, all right, who's the slowest driver? Figure out their best speed, and say that's our speed.
That's our
and
speed,
everyone else
and then
chills
you would
out.
have to slow down.
But see, with telemetry we have in the car, that would be easy
Yeah.
because we have a reference time that we set. That's our reference time, and then the telemetry will tell us faster or slower, and so that we can adjust.
It's TSD rally.
Now,
From checking this out, it looks like it is close to, but not quite what the SCCA rules have.
what I like about it, and if we want to keep talking about this, I like that these tracks, even Thompson, these tracks are starting their own series. Atlanta Motorsports Park, not too far from where we are now, north of Atlanta. Great.
Our
little-
shock almost went there. Just,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff's like, it's a racetrack near Atlanta. It's one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
that's
There are
the
3
drawback.
racetracks near Atlanta. They all have
Just
Atlanta
saying.
and motor in the yeah.
Right?
So,
That happens.
but
Now, Road Atlanta, that doesn't have motor.
okay, no, Road Atlanta's the one that doesn't have. But yeah, so you've got Atlanta Motor Speedway, Atlanta Motorsports
Yes.
Park, and Road Atlanta. But so Atlanta Motorsports Park, the guy that owns the bed and breakfast across the street, the Racers Inn, stay there if you're in the area. He wanted more track time, so he worked out a deal with Atlanta Motorsports Park, and it was just the Endurance Racer Series, and it was a 6-race series that, and it was just just bring a car, we'll figure out where to run it, and I'll buy you a $5 trophy. I don't care. Let's just go race it. And I like the idea that if Thompson is creating this series, that means that a lot of these fun road courses, especially the smaller ones around the country, are starting these kinds of look. Let's just come to the track and race. We don't need a 40-page rule book. We don't need all this other kind of stuff. What we need is a bunch of people that want to have fun and do stuff with cars. And why not?
Awesome.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's
So
why, we're all here.
I found the chart
Exactly.
down the bottom, and basically it's exactly what I said. You get a lap credit per hour, depending on what bracket you choose. Lap credit +1,
Now,
+2.
I wonder if you could do it like on a skateboard. How many laps an hour are you going to do? 1.
I mean, we put Jeff in immediately because Jeff's the only one that gets.
speed differential.
All right, so I think that's all the news and notes, right?
Yeah,
The big news is
we're here.
we're here.
We're racing.
We're
We're
here.
racing.
We're racing.
We're losing the national championship as we speak.
But we're
and
losing
we're
it to
only
good
sitting in
people.
the
We are
RV.
losing it to good people.
So just a shout out to Tetanus Racing. Glad they're here. I think
they're
one of them's
listeners.
watching us right now.
And they are listeners.
They're listening.
They are listeners, and they're great. And this is how classy these folks are. So last night, we're getting ready. You know, they're the ones that are, you know, making a run at taking the national championship. What do they do?
Well, hang on. The points are we are at 60 points right now. We
Yeah.
are currently leading the national field. They're at 57. So it all comes down to their 2 cars versus our 2 cars in the performance this weekend as to who's in the top 10 and how many.
And so what do they talk trash? Do they do that stuff? No, they invite us to their RV and come hang out for a bit.
All right, do you have listener feedback from them?
Chrissy's got something.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we confirmed. We're looking. We missed listener feedback.
Okay, so listener feedback. My friend, and don't use any last name. So Todd, my friend Todd, I've known Todd for years. I've raced with him in OK Speed. We won the True 24 Hours at Audubon a couple of years ago in a single cam Honda Civic, single cams for life. Yeah, great guy.
What?
And he has built a phenomenal Miata, and he runs a lot of World Racing League because they're primarily based out of the Midwest. And he was taking the trips, and he sent me a text message. He's like, I'd say I'm enjoying the show. I'm up to episode 6. I have some feedback, and I said I'd love to hear it. So, starting off, and I'm quoting Todd now. So far, I'd say you, the show, spent way too long talking about why you didn't get anything done. Valid, yeah. It's like, well, I sat down to do the Topig Love Fest, but I didn't finish it. Sat down to do this. So, that's fine. Spend 80% of the show talking about the topic. You barely scratched the surface. What about on how to form a team? True, valid
Fair.
point.
Barely scratched.
And then Chris mentioned valuable training from his day job on how to manage a team, and it was ignored. Now, in our defense, it's because we ignore Chris a lot. and now the second one is, and this is a theme that we've heard before. Chrissy gets overrun by you boys, and she has valuable info that she can't share freely, including her commentary on the issue. Right now, she's a token dick joke, and she's more valuable than that.
She is.
And-
Wait, was that a shake of a head? No.
No, that
No.
was a
He
that was a
was
shake
shaking
of the
his-
commentator.
Okay.
Headgear.
Okay.
Which we at some point need to explain.
We
Mitchell's
do
headgear.
need
We'll
to
get to
explain
that. We'll
that.
get to
When
that.
you're done with
And
this,
it's
we'll
been
explain
fun
Mitchell's
working in
headgear.
a public school, but this will be the end of my job. And finally, and tell Jeff to stop bitching about his life. We don't care, and it's already frankly unbecoming. Life is hard.
I think I complained that much.
I like this Todd guy.
Yes.
Hey,
that guy's
Todd.
all up.
Well done.
Todd, well done.
No,
Todd.
That is all pointed,
It is.
specific,
Great
direct
information.
feedback.
Great information.
No, that's great feedback. Thank you, Todd. And by the way, Todd, we get better.
Yeah, it's right. He only listened to 6.
Yeah.
We get better after 6.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Mental turns his microphone on like show 5. So.
No, it's
Right.
like show 7. Don't give me that much credit.
So Todd thinks mental sounds like this most of the time.
I'd like to point out that Todd had no commentary on my microphone, just about Jeff bitching about his job.
I do complain about my
Because
job.
Todd is giving good content.
It is.
based
It
feedback.
is legit.
And we
And I'll say,
appreciate
Todd's a great guy, and Todd is he's trained as an engineer. Normally, people of his intelligence, you can't have a conversation with because they're weird and they're socially awkward. And Todd is not. Todd is funny. Todd is but he overbuilt a Miata, and this thing it was designed from the onset to be endurance racing, which relates to our topic of how we're doing this weekend. Because Todd built his Miata to last rather than go fast, and it just happens to be a very, very quick Miata. It just a quick Miata that works well.
Cool. Hey, cheers, Todd. Thanks for the feedback.
Yep.
So we also had a bunch of listeners on the way down. So thank you to listeners who listened to on their way to Atlanta.
Yes.
So there are a bunch of people that stopped by and said that they were listening on the way down.
Which is awesome.
Right, Brett Sloan.
And we said, really?
It's awesome. Somebody walked up to me today and was like, "Are you the infamous Chrissy?"
Maybe.
Do I owe you money?
Why? So yeah, this was pretty awesome.
So
and
you
and
select
hopefully,
your
I
company
think
now.
we're going to pick some more up, and I think some people will be listening on their way back.
You had somebody, right? You said you wanted to say something about somebody, right?
Oh yeah, Brett Sloman, this guy on our Facebook page.
Oh.
Brett and his
got
brother
it.
Aaron, because they were both hanging out in here earlier, the two Kiwis.
Oh great. Oh, that's nice. They're
Excellent.
great people. I
Yeah,
wasn't sure
yeah.
that I didn't realize it was that.
Oh, yeah,
person.
no.
Right.
That person. Yeah, but we had plenty of people that were commenting, and there's people that are listening now,
Or not. Or great.
There's something else to do.
Right.
Shielding their children's eyes.
I'm bored.
Daddy,
This
what
show
is that?
sucks.
What is that on Mental's head?
Don't worry about it. It's a hat.
It's a hat.
It's a funny hat. It's a horn.
But now, and while you're talking about listeners, you know, and we appreciate all of our listeners, and we
All
should thank
fives.
all 5 or 6 of our listeners.
Tens.
But you know, who's a great listener?
Who's that?
Chrissy's mom.
OG listener. Listening
OG.
from the beginning.
And
She
we
doesn't know
should
what that
say,
means. She doesn't know what that means.
Old gangster.
No,
Original
gangster.
Original gangster.
She's
I
like,
was trying to come up with another thing that worked that for like, obviously great.
Oh, there we go.
Right.
Obviously great listener.
Chrissy's mom,
Can-
obviously great.
Can I have the microphone for just
Please.
a moment here? I have to say thank you to Chrissy's mom. I got an entire box of Snickerdoodles. I immediately hid them in my car.
People
And
tried to
no
break
one
into
has
them.
seen
Yeah,
them.
but people tried to
I
break
know.
into them when they got in your car because you can use your car for back and forth.
Yes.
And also, she prepared some of our baked goods
She
that
always-
Oh,
does,
the
yes.
corner workers
Oh, right.
absolutely went nuts for.
They did because we always do a corner work bag.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Brad.
Appreciation.
For
Appreciation
our
bag.
flaggers, and we actually gave them to medical and towing
Oh,
as
good.
well. So we usually.
And when you did so, what was their reaction?
Oh my gosh, they were just so overjoyed. They couldn't believe it, and our bags were really thin this time. We'll say.
Well, it's because Steve has decided not to show up.
Okay.
Steve's a no call, no show this time.
Okay.
The
So
dishwashing
The
fairy.
dishwasher, yeah, we had to do our dishes.
that's not even a
So
problem.
because he's a no call, no show, he usually also brings stuff for the bride bags, and so he did.
So our bags were
A giant bag of chips showed up today, and I think that was supposed to be for the bride bags.
And some people just keep eating them with dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
And Matt
I didn't-
Baranchek comes over and is like, "Oh, Doritos, awesome!"
So yes, I guess
You're welcome, Matt.
Somebody could have gotten some.
You have all the Doritos you want.
It's all right. They were little bags of baked goods.
They were.
Yes,
That's
right.
fine.
So, and they didn't know anything different because
Right.
we've never done it with them before. So it's
Hey.
that they were happy with it.
That'd be
A
true.
bag of delicious baked goods
Yeah.
is a wonderful surprise treat.
It was the king of the treats anyway in that bag.
Oh
let's
yeah,
be honest.
absolutely.
So they appreciated it very much.
They did. It was fantastic.
Since we're on the topic, let's talk about Road Atlanta. Let's talk about how we're doing today. Get on to the main topic. I don't know how we start because we have a lot of things to talk about. Should we start with me since I opened the day and then go through how the day went?
We're also 31 minutes in. so-
I know we got to keep moving here.
80% of our time talking about what we didn't get done.
I think this might be.
Hey,
an
we've gotten a lot
extended
done.
episode.
Thanks.
We've gotten a lot done.
This might be an extended.
Hey,
episode.
I know how to decide who gets to talk.
Well, let's
Did you get a black flag?
No. You just have to hold it.
No black flags for me.
Flags.
But do you want to start with the start of the day and then we'll just do it that way?
Let's just work through the day.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. I think yesterday needs to be a topic
All right. All right.
for a couple minutes of the setup and how tragic Friday was.
Yeah, so it's really cold here. They
Come to the
said,
south, they said.
come
It'll
to
be
Atlanta.
nice.
It'll be December. It'll be warm.
It'll be 60 degrees. It don't
It was-
snow till February.
It was 38. It dropped down to 24 last night. We had snow. There was
It
1 to
snowed- it
3
snowed all
inches.
day.
It snowed all day. 1 to 3 inches of snow. It was very bad. It is currently 32 degrees. It's going to go down to 25 later tonight. Wintry mix went to full snow. It was disgusting. Our hot tub has yet to come up to heat.
It's at 93 degrees, and damned if I'm not going to go in it tonight after I spent 3 days nursing it up
Now-
to 94 degrees.
And I do want to point out that never in the history of the world has there been a bigger first world problem than my hot tub at my racetrack is only 93 degrees.
I like first world problems. They're my kind of problems.
So, what is it? Does anybody else want to chip in about Friday?
Well, it was just a wet, cold, miserable day.
It went
Every-
from rain to
Yeah.
snow to sleet.
And it's little things that just made it miserable. Like we had the awnings out in the RV, but the snow then got super heavy, and then we see Mental's RV awning just sagging, and we say, "Oh man, if we break Mental's RV awning, he's going to be super pissed."
Thank you.
So we start rolling it in, but we can't just roll it in because all the snow's going to roll right into it. So we roll it in one turn of the thing. and then use the broom and brush the snow off that turn, and then roll it in one more turn, brush it off, etc. So things like that are just difficult. Everything just got soaking wet,
And
cold and gross.
and none of us have been to Road Atlanta.
No.
We changed the shock.
But-
Except for Mental, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Except for Mental, none of us have been to Road Atlanta.
Which, by the way, it's a great track.
It's a great track. Great
Like, I'm
track.
dying to come back.
When it's warm.
So they put us out there. We all take like 20-minute shifts in testing. My hands, I think, are still frozen to the steering wheel.
Well, remember my feedback to you when I came in? What did I say about the lines?
I don't remember.
I said, don't drive.
Drive the wet line, don't
wet
drive
line.
the ice line.
Yes.
That's what you said. I was like, oh my god. I was like, did you just say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
It
Because
was
if you
bad.
go off of the wet line, you're just in slush and ice, and you just won't. The brakes they do nothing.
I
The
freely
goggles, they do nothing.
I freely admit I did not listen. I did not watch a ton of videos. I watched the videos for maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I couldn't really figure it out. I got out there and I was like, I can't see.
You do not understand the elevation change.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the
Yes.
fogginess in the mirror. I'm like, rag on the stick didn't help. I couldn't
He did
see.
rag on a stick.
I did 85% of a lap, and then all of a sudden I was on pit row. How that happened, I don't know. I pulled. I got my wristband checked. I went out. I came back 2 minutes later, and I said, "Hi, I didn't mean to pit."
You were not the only one that did
The
that.
guy looked at me and says, "Happens all the time," and he waved me through.
And Chris, you touched on it. And now it is a good thing to, if you're going to a new track, watch videos, talk to people, go to the internet forums, iRacing. All these things are good. But everyone that I've ever brought here, everyone that I've ever instructed here, it's always the same thing. Oh, I've watched a lot of videos. I'm prepared for turn 11 into turn 12. And I always say, no, you're not.
I'm super fast on my simulator here.
Yes. But again,
We're not. We don't have a super.
nothing.
No,
Nothing.
I'm just saying like that. That's like
Those are phrases.
I drive flat out. I need to be faster runner.
I need to
make
move
sure
as fast
people
as
don't
run.
think that we actually do that.
But there are tracks in this world that simulators, the real thing, you cannot simulate a 5-story drop.
Yeah.
Elevation changes are the
unbelievable.
real deal. Like the Ridge in Seattle is one of my favorite tracks I've ever driven, and there's a corkscrew, like Laguna Seca kind of corkscrew, and the first time you come into it, you come up, you cannot see where it goes.
So I
Chrissy almost endoed a mini off that.
I honestly did. I didn't realize it. The turn. I had been in the car. We did 2 laps in the rental on that track.
Yeah.
And then it actually just turns super left, straight down. And I didn't know that it went that
As
far
far
left.
left.
It went down, down, down. A mini bounced probably up in the air like this.
Spank,
like this.
Spank and I were in the paddock, and we hear a noise, and we look over, and we see the mini almost on its nose.
It is
in the
bouncing.
dirt.
It is bouncing, and then it hits the track at the bottom, and I land, and I'm like, oh my god.
Thanks to the Mini's rally heritage.
Seriously.
I feel like that video should exist on the internet with the Beastie Boys Sabotage playing.
No.
There was no video. There was no video, unfortunately.
No.
But this track really is quite fun and quite challenging. And even
Yes.
though I had 2 hours in the car today, I have so much to learn. It's everything from knowing exactly the right lines, exactly the right way to go, and to having the testicular fortitude to carry through 11 and 12 the right way.
How about
Yeah, yeah.
not burning up your brakes?
Yeah.
Hey.
We'll get to Saturday
We'll get
in a
to the
minute.
breaks.
Don't get to
What's
Saturday.
our
Sorry.
what's our time at right
And
now?
anybody else have anything
37.
to add to Friday? We're going to go on to Saturday.
I have a
It's cold.
I have a non-track related thing about Friday.
Go for
that I want to add to the circumstances for folks that are not listening. Now, a lot of our friends in the South are experiencing snow. I'm a school teacher, and Friday at 10:30, we were released from school. That's how much it snowed here, and so
So,
hey, go
1/4
home and be
inch.
safe. 1/4 of an inch. No, but it was legitimate snow, and we all and I believe our just the tip today is winter driving. Oh god, it's towel
no,
is
no,
out.
no, no,
Oh god, it's beer delivery.
It is, because I realized
Panda.
Delivery Panda.
Beer
Thanks,
delivery.
Panda.
Panda.
I requested a beer on Facebook. I said, can you deliver another beer?
That is awesome.
Thank you.
We have the best
I
friends.
know. But I got
Thanks, beer delivery
I got-
Panda.
So, but So we got out of school early. That is, and the state of Georgia is actually in a state of emergency in order to free up all the funds and that sort of thing. So I got out of school and sat in traffic so that I could spend 2 hours not going home to be safe. No, coming here to the racetrack because I have an addiction, and I won't apologize.
Again, first world problems.
First world problems.
I have to drive through 2 inches of snow in Georgia.
In my Mercedes.
In my Mercedes. To get to my RV.
Here's the thing, my heated seats. Every 5 minutes I've got to turn them back on because they're auto shut off.
Your Mercedes is fairly janky for a Mercedes.
For a Mercedes, yeah, it's as janky as.
Okay, we're still talking about
except for any Mercedes running this track this weekend.
Okay,
Friday, yes.
Friday, super cold, a lot of
Cold,
snow.
wet, miserable.
Cold and miserable.
We
Thank you
replaced the
guys
shock.
for taking care of the RV. Awesome.
We replaced the shock in the wet snow.
It was disgusting.
It was terrible.
It was
But hey,
excellent.
we got the new shock and everything's fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, on to Saturday. Saturday, green flag starts at 9 o'clock. I took first shift. Because I don't know why I volunteered.
Well,
oh
we
my
talked
God,
about
it's
it.
terrible.
Well,
We
did.
spent 45 minutes debating.
It's
this.
Absolutely.
and understanding why you pick who goes when is actually a valuable topic.
We'll have another show.
Absolutely.
And
we will.
it came down to the fact that I think Jeff and I both feel comfortable navigating the crap show.
The crap show was great. I think it was the wet.
The wet was worse.
I said no. I bailed,
Right.
and I don't do
Which is
wet.
fine. I mean, yes, I think I probably could have. I'm usually pretty good in the web, but it was trying to figure out. All right, because it's going to be potentially such a crap show. Do I have more to gain in the wet crap show, or in the dry clean track when I can really push? And if it were like wet at the end of the day, when it's dry, when it's clean and wet, then I probably could gain more there. For the morning when it's such a mess, maybe not. Jeff is just as good as I am at navigating a messy morning.
Yeah, you're probably a much faster track learner than I am, because you probably learned a lot more than I did in my head.
This is like my 26th track or something.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I got out there. It was sloppy. It was wet. It was disgusting. The early Saturday shift was so horrible. To say that we stayed alive is basically is what we did, and that was my goal. My goal was to stay alive, and we did.
Absolutely.
I think I was in the teens, right?
You started 8th and brought it to 16th by the time you stopped.
Okay, tap the map book. There you go. So say that again. I started 8th.
You started 8th and you were 16th by the time
Yeah.
you stopped.
See, it was. It started getting dry. I'm going to tell the story, and then you can tell about what we broke. It was starting to get dry. I was starting to feel my oats starting to go faster and faster, and I crest the little hill blind kink in the straight.
Which one?
Past the modal bridge.
9.
So,
Turn 9.
Is it even a turn? It's like a kink.
Turn 8 and 9 aren't really turns,
Yeah,
but you got to call them something.
I came across, it was a little blind. It was a parking lot in front of me. I went about 60% brake, which is way more than I have been using all day. I've been using about 30% all day. And I stalled this sucker Honda out at about 100 miles an hour. I immediately started sliding towards the stopped cars. Not stopped, they were just slowed. Got off the brake, got right back on it again to start slowing the car. It restarted and, pulled it together, didn't even get close to anyone.
But when you braked, you stalled.
I stalled the car, yeah, that's the idea. It stalled, and then I got off the brake, it restarted. I got on the brakes, it slowed down enough, didn't have any problems, I was never in danger of hitting them. I just did not expect to lock up the brakes that early. And all of a sudden, the car would not run. It was just horribly running, missing. I tried to baby it around. We talked on the radio for a long time. I brought it in.
Yeah.
Tell me about your thinking and what you were hearing.
We talked it through a lot. You're trying to diagnose through the radio is tough. And
Yes, Knox Vegas, we know you're here. Yeah, get it. Horn blows. How about the driver?
Now we're getting heated.
You did so well.
we were talking it through, and we thought part of it might be the boost control cut because the ECU will shut the car off. It'll shut all spark when we get to 10 pounds of boost, it'll shut it off because the Honda stock map sensor can't take it. So we're trying to figure out, is it map sensor, is it the ECU shutting it down because of boost spike, or is it something else? And eventually we figured out it's probably something else because Jeff was trying to drive around it, we're doing what we could do, it wasn't working. So we brought it in, and our first thought was maybe the timing belt skipped a tooth, because when Jeff stalled it on the brakes, that's the engine going from 100 miles an hour, 6,000 RPM to 0 is a big
Plausible,
difference.
absolutely plausible.
And then starting right back again, we thought maybe that did that.
And I remember
start,
the
start.
thought of it, the thought of the timing belt skipping a tooth. It was like someone just punched you in the gut.
I was so upset.
I felt, and you were in the car, Jeff, but I looked at Chris, and it was just, he's just racking up. He was doing the math of how many hours do I have in this engine, and just, I watched the enthusiasm. You were like me at NCM this past summer, and I'm like, oh man, I understand why that bothered you so much, because it was sad to see you that upset.
Well, I just put the damn thing together.
Well, let's get to the point. We pulled it apart.
Yep. So Jeff comes in. We yank the valve cover off, because you have to do that to pull the end of the timing cover off to see things are where things are. And then we start turning the motor over with a ratchet. We don't see any problems with the timing belt. Everything looks okay. So we see nothing wrong at all.
Nothing wrong
at all. And I said, all right, well, it's a Honda. It's ignition. It's probably in the distributor. Because everything that goes wrong in a Honda, in the ignition-wise, it's in the distributor, because it's all in the distributor. So the distributor cap comes off. Well, no, that's because I had replaced that not long ago. So I pulled the distributor cap off. The distributor cap doesn't look great inside. There's some wear in the terminal. So we say, well, it doesn't look great. I have another one. So we replaced the cap and rotor with a new set that I have for spares. Started the car up. And Jeff, how was it?
Ran like a train. It was awesome out there.
It was.
Got out there, the 45 minutes we were off track, it dried, the snow was gone, the ice was gone.
Angels began to sing.
It went from holy iciness to just wet.
And Jim, then you took the car out. So Jim, what do you think? What was the car like when you got out? Because Jeff only had it about 20 minutes after it fixed it.
So, this earlier, it felt really good. It was fast. It was almost as fast as it was at Thompson.
Really?
When I was driving at Thompson, I felt like I was the fastest thing on the track. And, well, the car was. But
it was the fastest thing. I felt like I was the fastest thing on the track. Because I was.
Well, the car was.
Suck on that, elitist other series racers that think we're not fast.
And then, so here, it felt almost as fast as that was. It was not quite there. It's a different track, so there's a lot of places where people would just go,
sure,
and I couldn't keep up.
Well,
with
Thompson, our gearing is perfect for Thompson.
Well, that's
basically it's third gear. You run from mid-third to top of third, mid-third to top of third, mid-third to top of third. Then we're on the straight. We go all the way to top of fourth, maybe into fifth, and that's it. And the rest of the whole track is up and down to third. Is perfect. Here it's a little less so. We're in and out of third and fourth a bit, and we're running fifth on the straights if you do things right. But I agree with Jim. The car just ate this track up. There were less than 5 cars that I could not walk away from, or at least hang on to, or move past down the straight. That's it.
I'd just like to check in real quick here. I forgot to mention, I did not get a black flag. And I suggest when we all talk about our shift, we say what we did. Hey Jim, did you get any black flags?
No, I did not get any black flags.
And
I'm going to take this bet, because this will come back to haunt him. It will come back to haunt him.
But we'll do that again. I will say, I had my first black flag in, I think, a year and a half today. First one in a year and a half. I think that's fair. I'm pushing it a little bit. I come into turn 5. I pop off the brakes a little too quick, and the car goes around immediately. I have no chance to catch it. I go all the way around, and fortunately, I do not go off the track at all. So I look around. It's all clear. Get back.
Really, you spun and there's no
I
cars
spun
around.
entirely. Fortunately, no cars around.
Really?
And I do not leave the paved surface. Once I came to a stop, I looked around, I looked in the mirrors, everything was okay, and I put it back in gear and kept going, and then I came immediately into the pits, where Eric Root said, "What are you doing? Like, why'd you do that? Why do you suck so much?" And then he made me wait for the Knox Vegas picnic table to roll by at 1 mile an hour.
Which our listeners have heard twice.
Yep.
Right.
And then he said, "You have to follow that." I said, "Okay."
Well played,
I
Eric.
started to.
Well
Right.
played.
I started to. I look over at Eric. I shrug my shoulders up, and he's like, "No, go." Thanks, Eric.
What, how many black flags did the Civic get today?
Civic had one black
Oh, because
flag,
it was yours.
and that was me.
That's fine. Sorry.
My first spin. It was my first black flag in I think a year. My last black flag I had was at CMP. Remember we were trying to win at CMP like a year and a half ago? The time Dan crashed the car?
Oh yeah.
I went 4 off at that. So that was it. Dan knows he crashed the car.
And if Dan doesn't know he crashed the car, Dan, you crashed the car.
Okay, anyway.
He knows.
All right, so to mental, you had some black flags today.
Well, and before we get into the black flags, I wasn't supposed to drive, so
That's true.
it was interesting that started. So the dishwashing fairy got snowed into his house.
No call, no show.
He called.
How's that work at your work, Steve?
So dishwashing fairy. Well, in his defense,
He called.
30 seconds before I'm about to strap into the car, he actually tried to call me, and Steve, I'm about to get in the car. What?
10:58.
Okay. Still, too late. Like
Too-
you're supposed to show up at 8 and you don't call till 10:58?
Yeah.
That's a no call, no show. First warning.
So
Where's he up?
Darren's brother-in-law John brought the old.
Just Johnny or awesome?
Yeah, John, you are awesome,
John's
and John,
great.
and you know who's
Yep.
also great? John's wife.
Yep.
She cooked
Yeah.
a lot of food.
She
Yep.
did, and it was good. It is three pedal mafia quality, and I assure you that is a compliment. So they asked me to strap into the Lexus, so I fire up into a Lexus LS400. Or is it? It is an LS400.
SC 400.
SC, thank you.
It's
SC400.
Sport Coupe 400,
Sport
not a
Coupe
luxury
400.
sedan.
Luxury sedan, automatic, which with an automatic and a V8 and rear-wheel drive on a wet racetrack, there is no fail in that plan
No
at
fail.
all. In a car I've never driven, yeah. So
A car that's barely sorted.
car is barely sorted.
Barely?
So we get in. So we get
Still
in.
being, I think,
Still
is the
being.
answer,
Still
yeah.
being. So we get into the car, and actually, John's got the right attitude. John comes up and goes, "Hey, you've done this a couple times. I want to hear your notes when you get out of the car." So I get into the car. We go out there, and it's fun. A lot of horsepower, not a lot of grip, in a track that's not very grippy. And I got almost 5 whole laps before the thing shut down completely. And this is when a turn 1 was a melee. They had 2 cars into the wall, and God bless the emergency recovery guys here at Road Atlanta, because they have been earning their paycheck.
And they've done a great job.
They have done it.
The hot pulls have been very quick.
Yeah.
And literally, and I'll go on that. So I get the car shuts down the main straightaway. I kick it into neutral. I coast as far as I can because I don't want to shut down the main straightaway because that's just more yellow flags and more hassle.
No, you were in the
Or
pit
die.
straightaway, not the main straightaway.
No, I was on the main straightaway
Oh,
when
really?
the car shut
Oh,
down.
wow, okay.
And so I kick it
coasted
into
a long time.
I kick into neutral because I wanted to get the hell away from all of that. I get offline and I get it up into turn 1, and I was going to pull off into the inner paddock pit road, and I got completely over there because the hot pole guys are still pulling 2 people out of the wall in turn 1, and then I let it roll back comfortably into the pit lane, so I'm behind a brick wall. Hence, I don't cause a yellow flag, and the corner worker runs over and checks on me. Hey, everything good? I'm like, yeah, fine. I know you guys hate people going backwards and doing stuff like that. I just wanted to be out of the melee. He said, nope, right decision. So I sat there for a little bit. I'm away from everything. I'm away from danger. The hot pole recovery guys come over there, and they're still running. They are running to go over there, put a rope onto the car, get me pulled out of there. Then they had to go around to the front, and then they pulled me all the way around the track, and they were sprinting to everything they did. So those guys were just,
They were
and I kept
busting
telling, and I'm like,
balls,
guys, don't run. I'm in no hurry. And they're like, no. And they were just on it. They towed us all the way back to the pits. So it was a good time. I wasn't supposed to drive. I felt good that I got 5 laps.
But then you drove something else.
But then I drove something else. So I'm suited up. And unfortunately, Bruce, one of our beer delivering panda fairies,
I think that was Darren.
I think it was Darren.
I don't
But
know.
Bruce is one of the most valued members of the 3 pedal
He
mafia
totally
community.
is, because he can drive the wheels off of just about anything.
Yep. And he
We-
can fix anything.
And yes, and he can fix stuff that was never meant to be
Magic
fixed.
trailer.
If Bruce had been on the Titanic, He'd have gotten up out of his chair,
Special
grabbed
guest.
Oh my God.
Who's
Oh, no,
special
no,
guest?
no,
Special
You
guest.
guys almost
Bruce.
won getting in the hot tub.
Howdy.
We were literally just talking about you.
Hot tub time.
Hot tub time. Hot
So
tub
it's up to
time.
94 degrees.
All right. If Bruce had been on the
was
Titanic,
This is actually Bruce's usual race wear.
Oh, wait.
so for our
I got my
Facebook,
towel.
Facebook,
Towel.
always have a
Bring a
towel.
towel.
You always gotta have a towel.
Towel. You need a towel for the hot tub.
So if Bruce had been on the Titanic, he would have grabbed some duct tape and a pipe wrench, and that boat would still be floating.
That's it.
Yes, it would.
What are y'all bitching about?
Shove that right in the hole.
I work for a school system. Put that down.
Microphone up to your mouth, Bruce.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm not used to having a thing in front of my mouth like that.
Sure you are.
No, you're not fooling anybody. But Bruce was not feeling 100%. He wanted to come out of the car early.
What happened to you?
Yeah, how come you weren't feeling 100% in the car?
What happened?
That's value.
Tell us about it.
I just didn't have my the fresh air pumped into the helmet,
Yeah.
and
Is this something
the
you've tried
smells just give me a headache, and I was afraid I wasn't going to make it. I was starting to slow down, so I figured
So you made
somebody else in the car.
made the smart, safe decision and decided not to wad up the car.
Yeah, he definitely slowed down because I caught up to him in the Civic, and I was like, I got on the radio and I was like, Bruce, do you know it's a green flag? he was
No,
off.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I literally just got on track when you pulled down and said it's
Also-
a green flag. I said I haven't been on this track.
The RX is
So-
one of 4 cars that the Civic can't hang with down the straight. That's one of 4 cars. So
Well, Mental knows this track. It's like his backyard.
no,
So, like,
well,
you said, you need to learn the track.
Sure.
Everybody needs to learn the track.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you give me time in the track, and you won't be near that car.
Oh, did you just see that gauntlet? That gauntlet just flew across the room.
You know what? Down the straight, it's not about the driver, it's about the car. Down the corners, it's about the driver. Down the straight, the RX
No, it's about
got
your
it.
car
RX
at that
got it.
point
Yeah.
in
Thank
the
you.
corners.
So,
Thank you, Bruce.
so Bruce is slightly overcome, and they wanted to throw me in the car for 45 minutes just to bridge the gap and get in there because Bruce and Greg and Darren were cooking a pig. Yes, an entire pig, because that's what we do at Three
All
Pedal
right, I'm going to the
Mafia.
hot tub.
All right, Bruce, go in the
All
hot
right,
tub.
Bruce,
Bruce is on the hot
As soon as
tub.
we're done,
Time.
Bruce, we'll join you.
I'll come back when I'm wet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She said.
So
Or Bruce.
All right.
That's what Bruce said.
that's
You know
what
what?
Bruce said.
We should have guests randomly walk in Speedos all the time.
Special guest.
Special guest.
Look.
Naked
Tito.
guy, greased up naked
Thanks,
guy.
Alex.
It's Kanye, and he brought a casserole.
So I end up now, and we should go because we've talked about Black Betty before, and I driven Black Betty before she was in her current lemon state, and I love this car. And the thing about Black Betty's that really hot person you dated when you were in high school, and then you run into them later, and they just got hotter. So Bruce got a hold of Black Betty, put it in power steering, put it in a fuel cell, and
We fixed the suspension too.
I'm in love with Black Betty.
We fixed
now.
the suspension.
We
Also,
did fix the suspension.
They banged all the fenders out for 275s.
So
You said something seriously wrong when
got it.
Jeff
So
was,
folks, I'm going to warn you right now. If you're listening to this on your way to work, you either going to have to sit in the parking lot or just add a little
Hey,
extra time.
in
'cause we're
NPR
gonna
they
go
call
a
it a
little-
driveway moment.
They call it a driveway moment.
this
So
is so riveting.
So I got into the car, and about 10 laps into it, Greg calls me and goes, "Hey, how are you enjoying the car?" I love the car, Greg. You've done wonderful things to it. He goes, "Well, so when the lap times are laying down, why don't you just go ahead and run this tank dry, and I'll keep tending to the pig." So I am the all-time king of scam artists because I managed to race 2 cars that I wasn't scheduled to race anything today. So
Well, part of it's thanks Steve for his no call no show.
Thank you, Jimmy Clemens.
thanks to yes, and
Thank you,
particularly
Kim.
thank you, Kim,
Yeah.
because we went down there and she said, "Can you prove?" All her only complaint was, "Can you prove to me you have a valid lemons license?" And then she said, "Here's where you go to the website to show me." And I showed her that, and she said, "You're good to go." So God bless you, Kim.
Kim is a saint. And,
The cookie tray and donut.
sure.
They honestly, she would have done it anyway, but absolutely, they totally helped. Which yet again, thanks, Chrissy's mom.
I think we forgot the most important part about your shift.
I'm not
Black flag.
done yet, Susan.
Yeah, that left rear quarter panel of the RX-7 doesn't look the same, does it?
It does not. It does not look the same. So I am having the time of my life. I am running really good times. I am passing everybody like they're going backwards. And as Chris has already mentioned, there's only 2-3 cars that can get around the Civic and stay around the Civic, and Betty is one of them. Now, this is where I lose 3 listeners that love Black Betty, including the guy who probably built it. So coming into one of the turns, we got into a minor kerfuffle. There are 2 cars on the outside of the turn. Betty will stick, so I come wide, nice and wide to the inside of the turn. Right about the time that those 2 cars decide that they're going to try and pass each other, they lock the brakes, and I found myself in a situation that I was no longer in control of, and now Betty had a war wound, which would have looked terrible except for what happened later in the day, so I'm feeling okay.
What was the war wound?
So one car is goes to dive to the inside of another car when I was trying to pass them both, realizes they're in over their head, locked up the brakes, lost control of their steering, and tagged Betty behind the rear wheel on the driver's side. So then I get to go have an extended conversation with Phil, and now Jeff's going to lecture me on how to talk to
Not
Phil.
gonna lecture.
That's a separate episode of how to deal with episodes.
No, just how to deal with Phil.
I will say
We love
that
Phil.
Mental came in
I'm not
and
gonna
had
lecture.
a long,
I'm not
lengthy
gonna
conversation.
lecture. I'm not gonna lecture.
Chris came in at the same exact time at the end and was out almost immediately.
Yeah,
And I stand by my statement that Phil didn't know it was me.
which is fine. That's why Mental had some headgear on at the beginning. Because
But deserved it.
a
Deserved it.
3 p.m. tradition since we did the Citroen SM with our S&M theme.
And we've talked about this on the
Yes,
show.
is we have a marital aid, called the Accommodator. And
You can Google that
You can
later.
go Google that, or
When you're not at work.
or ruin
When
your
you are
Am-
not at work,
you
do
can
not
ruin your
Google that at work.
Amazon's cart
That's only if
forever.
you add it to your
Right,
cart.
you ruin that forever. Anyway,
You
the
just
point
saw
is
it on
when
Mental Set.
yeah, you saw it in Mental Set. It's a product demonstration. When anyone on our team gets a black flag, at the end of the day, those folks that get a flag must wear the Accommodator for at least 15 minutes in public.
Depending on how long or how bad your
And
incident
yes, how
was.
egregious it was. Like, for example, Greg Smith today had to wear the Accommodator in the classic position for longer than usual because that he crashed the car into
Yes, so,
someone else.
I can explain because I was there. I know I heard the discussion when it came off. Chris got some excellent video of it. You want to say what you saw, and then I'll say on it.
Well, Greg had just passed me because I knew I can't keep up with everything.
Greg was
else
in
straight.
Black Betty. You were in the
was in
Civic.
Betty, I was in the Civic. So we were having a good time, and I was also at this point.
Black Betty is the RX-7.
Yes.
I don't know. We keep talking about it, but let's
Oh no,
just-
no, we've gone in depth. In fact, we got one of our listener feedback was stop talking about our car.
So I was also at this point nursing brakes that were not working well, as eventually we found that managed to weld the backing plate to the piston in a very odd position. We'll put a picture of that on the website later. Anyway, so Greg was up ahead of me. I'm watching him go, and all of a sudden I see cloud of smoke, debris, and then the RX-7 with its hood against its windshield.
So, what was the call that came in, Jeff?
So we're just hanging out, and all of a sudden I hear the RX-7's hood has popped. The RX-7's hood has
Is that-
popped.
yeah,
So we
is
went, well, who didn't latch it?
And how are you dragging that along?
And then, like, the
I
third
saw a
thing,
cloud of smoke, and the car came out of it with the hood up.
and then the third thing was, oh, he hit something.
Well, no, it was the hood is up, and Greg comes on and goes, yeah, that's my fault. And then we said, well, what did you do? Oh, I hit someone.
So the problem is that we were just everybody was it was really chatty right then
On the radio.
on the radio, and we were kind of, like I don't know if
We
it
were
was-
having fun.
yeah, but maybe people were distracted. I don't know.
No, I think
His eyes weren't up. Maybe.
yeah, Greg's eyes weren't up.
I know.
Yeah,
I think
a little
he's,
lump.
he's,
Sorry,
he's
Greg.
upset about it. No, he is.
So I will say that he came back in. He went to Lemon's Judging. He went to find the guy he hit. He returned their tow hook, which was embedded in the foam of the RX-7. The porta power and some hammers came out, and it really looks barely dented at this point.
Yeah,
When you
they're-
get close, it's obviously messed up, but it looks like an RX-7 still.
Oh yeah, it's much better than the Mercedes SLK that's back next to us. That we pulled straight with 2 trucks today. My Suburban, the third time that truck has pulled cars straight at 11's batting. Thanks, Suburban.
Thanks, Suburban.
Except it's not.
So,
Chrissy, what's up?
Oh no, I was just going to tell people where I was.
Yeah, please.
I was really sick. I am really sick. So I was in bed all day. I was having rentals. RV. Sleep.
I would come to visit Chrissy. I'd open the door, and it was, I'm not kidding, 99 degrees. And Chrissy is in 4 shirts, wrapped in a comforter, and it's sad.
I know.
Sorry,
and then I went out, I got a shower, I went to this CVS, I bought myself some Dayquil, felt much better, and now I'm on my own.
So our plan is that you're going to open tomorrow.
Is that the plan?
Are you opening?
It's
You
only
could
an
drive
hour and a
tomorrow.
half.
Hour and a half. Got it. So we did split up the next. I do not drive tomorrow. Is that still correct?
We'll
Chris
figure
and
this
Jim.
out
Yeah, we'll figure it out afterwards. But our original plan was Chris. There's a church hour here. We should just mention
Jesus Saves Race Voters.
Two church hours.
2 hours of church time where you're not allowed to
it's
start
only
your.
11 and 12. That's
Yeah,
what
well, Jay said that, but all of the schedule things say 10 to 12. All the schedule things say 10 to 12. Jay said 11 to 12. I think Jay didn't know because most places have a 1 hour church hour. Here
This is
it's supposed to be 2.
Race
8:30 to 10.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there
Chris,
it
you be out there
is.
then?
Anyone want to say? Do you want to mention anything about the breaks before we go?
So yeah, as I'm out
It's the
there,
last story, unless someone's
I'm
got anything else.
rocking some good times. We got the Civic down to 153 here, which is going pretty well. I know there's a couple seconds out there because I have not strung a perfect lap together, and I don't have the testicular fortitude to do 12 correctly yet. But I'm coming into the straight. We're doing 115 plus, and the brakes are getting worse. I'm pumping them up, and things are not going well. I can back them up, cool it off, but they're still not quite right. And Jeff says, basically, harden the F up.
I said you have an hour left. Can you deal?
Like I said, Jeff said harden the F up, which is exactly what I would say to him.
Yeah.
So that's fair. And so I did, and it was fine. And it wasn't until the ignition started breaking up, which I thought potentially was fuel. We came in, we threw 5 gallons in. That was not going to be it. We then found it was an ignition issue, so we brought it in. And after that night, we were checking all the brakes, and we found, oh hey, the left rear inner pad was completely gone, and then had worn through. What, I think about 3/4 of the backing plate.
It had actually shifted.
Yeah.
So it had come out of the position it should have been because it was too thin.
It slid
And
between
it
the bracket and the
slid
rotor.
between the bracket
And that's where it
stayed
got
there.
welded in
That's
place.
where it got welded in place.
So we replaced that caliper because Mental and Chrissy went on an adventure for a couple hours to get a new caliper. And
3
that's all
auto
in place now.
zones in East Georgia.
So now we have some Wagner Posi quiet pads.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where's, give me the tube of mockery.
That was my-
Give me the tube of mockery.
Oh,
The
yeah.
tube of mockery brought to you by Wagner Power Quiet.
My backup rear pads were the cheapest ones I could get at AutoZone a while ago.
I believe it was 2 episodes we said never use Wagner Power Quiets or whatever we
But
call
we
them.
figure on
we
the
were joking.
on the back of the Civic. No, we're not joking. On the back of the Civic, what do? That is in 4 years the second set of pads we've gone through
Obviously,
in
you
4
did
years.
something because you welded the crap out of it.
Well, apparently, but now we have a new caliper on that side, so whatever's wrong with that one, it's gone now.
Sure.
Now it's
For
shiny.
those of you who don't know, he was making a hand motion. Whatever was wrong with it.
Man,
If you're not watching on Facebook Live,
Is there anything else for the
which
good
apparently
of
is
the
one
order?
person right now.
We're,
No.
I think it's time for just a tip.
Sure. Yeah.
I would
All right.
like just a tip.
do we have just yes?
Okay.
Please,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean.
There's always
we're-
time for
we're-
just a
we're
tip.
There's
running-
always-
We're running late, so.
And everyone's disappointed, but
Okay, so my just the tip today is all about propane safety.
Oh
Propane-
yeah.
and propane accessories.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I work in propane safety. That's besides the point. But we had some issues with trying to defrost our pig. The pig was very frozen, and somebody decided to put a heater of a propane tank with a little heater on top in an enclosed space to try to defrost our pig, and that's inappropriate. So unsafe. Did it work? Yes, but we were. I was.
and that was
patient.
not Amerigas propane because that was not safe or clean.
It was
or
Strickland.
efficient.
It was Strickland propane.
It's not Strickland propane.
No, that was Blue Rhino.
Oh.
Blue Rhino.
But it was in a it was in an enclosed space.
That's
Yes.
the problem.
There it
Don't
is.
put-
Well, you know-
this is
Yeah, it would have exploded if it were a less safe gas, though.
Sure. And
Sure.
And if it did explode, then they would be calling me as the safety professional at a very large
And we make fun of them
international
on the
propane.
video.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Chrissy,
yeah.
you're close by. Can you go investigate this incident?
Oh, wait.
No, absolutely no.
That's my tank. Yeah, I'm on site, no problem. So anyway, don't put propane indoors.
And I just have to add that Jennifer, the lovely and talented Jennifer, would also suggest that you not thaw your pig.
So we have a 90-degree issue here, actually. So do not thaw your very frozen pig.
Top tip.
Thaw your pig before you need to
Just
eat
the
it.
top tip.
And
Thaw
don't
your
put your
pig.
propane indoors. And then they're like, well, we opened the door. And I was like, that's not enough. Okay, don't do it.
Well, there it is.
Hey, real
Another
quick,
great
I do want to
episode.
give a shout out to Aaron Sloman and the boys at Apocalyptic Racing. Their live streaming video is available in the Lemons Citrus Racer Lounge, so check that out as well.
Okay.
Wow, some extras. Anyone have any other plugs?
No, we're good.
Honda Performance Development? Anything else?
Yeah, we're already wearing their hat.
There
like
you
a
go,
true
right on
sponsor.
Facebook Live. Well, thank you for downloading us or watching on Facebook Live. We hope you
I'm
enjoyed
so sorry.
this edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you plan to join us in the world of driving, racing, or building, because everyone can be a racer, even you.
No one wants to after
No
this
one does.
episode.
Yeah,
No.
Who would
But
want
if
to?
you do, Barber in
Bring-
February,
bring-
babe.
bring a-
We're going to be there again.
Bring a snow coat. If you enjoy this podcast, please subscribe on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You have questions, want to give us some show ideas, or you want to jump in the hot tub, come on down. We're Road America, everyone.
Road Atlanta. Road America's in
Oh my
Wisconsin.
God,
That's
Atlanta.
really far away.
Sorry,
Atlanta and
that's not written
Wisconsin
on the
are a
sheet.
half a country apart, but to these people, they both mean the same
Road
thing.
Atlanta.
Are you done yet, Jeff?
No. If you'd like to help us produce the show, please donate to the cause at patreon.com, or just bring us a beer in a funny costume. Thanks
Yes.
again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless, like us, you have no shiny side. And then just keep the wheels down.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Don't bring-
Bye.
All right, and to our Facebook Live, 3 folks. Yeah, there we go.
Bye, Vicky.
Yeah.
I think we had 10. We have 11 viewers.
What?
We did. They're down to 3, but yeah.
That's fine. They're like,
Hey, come to the hot tub. Come on down.
So we're going now.
but there's only 4 people. There's 4 people on there.
So we got room.
So what was the total time?
Like an hour and 10.
That's good. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm okay with an hour and 10.